Azana, I'm going on my show, okay? So please hold on. Okay. Pizza, right? All right, go do what you're doing. Okay, we're on. So let me just get myself situated here, make sure I have the sound not double timing. Okay, make sure this one's on. Is this on mute? Yep. Hey everyone, listen. I titled today, What's the Gossip? I knew when you saw that word gossip, you was gonna be, oh, let me go in here and get this good juice. Anywho, happy Tuesday. So glad to be back. We are improving. We have a lot of great things happening um, for us. And there's a lot. And you know what? I need to go back because I'm all over the place right now. But first, welcome back. I think I had a bye week last week I was working on my dissertation. Believe it or not, I've made some progress. I've made some really good progress. So I should be turning in my chapter. Listen, chapter 3 has been like really out of line with me. So chapter 3 is like the methodology. You need to make sure that your study makes sense and that people, if somebody wanted to replicate my study, they need to be able to have step 1, step 2, step 3. Like I walked it over here. I put the piece of paper here. I read this sentence, and it's really been a challenging space for me. I've been working on it for so long, but the pieces are finally coming together. My advisor is probably like, what is this girl doing? But hey, I've had to just be at peace with myself. This is my journey. This is where I am. And I'm going to be like a turtle, but the point is, I'm going to get to the finish line. And if you don't know, my dissertation topic is on teacher identity and teacher narratives and how teachers' identity and life experiences, or family experiences more specifically, impact the decisions that they make in the classroom. So I have a really beautiful study that I'm ready to move forward and hoping I should be able to get it turned into my advisor this week so I can get started on chapter 2. But anyway, I'm Kamilah Bywaters. I'm running for the Board of School Trustees in District E. Because of you and all of your support and us working together, we got us through the primary. So now we're on to the general. November 5th is election day. Listen, we have a lot of work to do. There are about 213,000 voters in District E, which is Summerlin, Spring Valley, out towards Blue Diamond. We have a lot of voters to reach and to educate about some of the debauchery that is happening with my opponent. I do have a mission to really educate our community about Moms for Liberty and the danger of having potential of 2 Moms for Liberty on our school board. So when I have said it is all hands on deck, I absolutely believe it is all hands on deck. This is us saving public education. Public education is the foundation of democracy, and really preparing our children to live in a place where they can feel like they have the right and the freedom to be who they are and to express who they are. Listen, my friends, I am out before you as much as possible. I've had 3 meetings this week with people who are like, hey, Kamilah, I want to meet with you. And I'm like, heck yeah, let's go meet. My campaign manager is like, girl, be careful, because if you get a Trumpster, they might have a recording, try to record you. And I'm like, well, let me meet with the Trumpster and let me be mindful of what I'm going to say, but I'm going to meet with you. Because at the end of the day, I'm here. I will be, and I'm going to claim it, the trustee for everyone. And I'm going to work hard. I don't believe that nothing should be given to me. I'm going to work hard, earn this seat, reach out to the community like I'm supposed to. But I want to say this one thing, and I haven't let Mr. Rodney introduce himself and send his greetings. I'm going to say this one thing. Be very wary of people who are running for office and you ain't seen them or heard from them yet. Very wary of that. Anywho, Rodney, go ahead and introduce yourself, and anybody else on the call who would like to introduce themselves, you're welcome to. We're going to go ahead and go to my co-host, Rodney.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Education Show with Miss soon-to-be Dr. Kamilah Bywaters. and then trustee of District E. I'm here because I am a supporter of Miss Bywaters. We need her. Our children need her. She is going to help usher in the future for our children that we don't have today. And believe me, if we get the wrong persons on the school board, if you haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, just pull it up on Hulu and you can see what our future will be, because it is all about education. So, Kamilah, did you want to jump in?
Yes and no. I would say maybe we should do like a clip from The Handmaid's Tale and make that one of our topics.
Oh my goodness, yes, because education or the lack thereof is in The Handmaid's Tale. Um, Democracy works because you have an educated electorate, and we don't have the best education in America, and we haven't had it for some time. And there is a line with that decline in education and the rise in the alt right, white nationalists, Christian nationalists, pretty much just downright racist. And it's like they never left. They just kind of went underground like mushrooms, and they got enough, put on them. And now they're starting to sprout all over the place. Well, we have to fight back. And the way that we fight back is not put our head in the sand. It's not sit down in November. It's not saying our vote don't count. The way we fight back is we stand up and we be counted. And come November 5th, the vote that you're going to vote to make a difference, if you're in District E, is going to be for Kamilah Bywaters. So once again, my name is Rodney Smith. I host a weekly gathering every Friday at WSO Westside Oasis. And this Friday, we're going to talk about a movie that describes a lot of why we're going through the things that we're going through today. And when the general gets up, she's going to give the name of that movie. And hopefully you all can join us. And then also, Sister Kamilah has an invite to continue her getting to know people, and the general will share that as well. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. If you're on Facebook, if you have questions or comments, please get them in there now and get them in there as soon as you can. Sister Kamilah will try to answer them if it's pertinent to her. But you're looking at the next school board trustee of District E. You are looking at a history maker, and this is history in the making, and you are part of it.
Yay! Thank you so much, Mr. Rodney. Did anyone else that's on the Zoom want to talk? Derek, you got anything you want to say?
Sure. I'm sorry, I just got my stitches out, so I still sound like Daffy Duck.
No problem.
But I have a quick question. So you still have an opponent in November, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, one person, yes.
Okay. So what I would like to do is offer you my house for whatever you need, a fundraiser or anything you want to use it for. Got a pool and all that, so maybe you figure out how to monetize it, or we could show a movie outside. Whatever it is you need, that's what I can do for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm working, so I got to go.
Okay. Thank you. I think you froze, but I got that. I love that. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. And listen, right now it's fundraiser. I'm focusing in on fundraising. My mom reported to me that Moms for Liberty across the nation will be putting like $3 million into their candidates. So we need to raise money so that I can do my mailers and do my education around Moms for Liberty. So thank you, Derek. I really appreciate that. You froze for a second, Derek. Did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah. The other thing is, no, I don't. I'll be there Friday for the gathering, Rodney. And I refer to Moms for Liberty as MILFs for Tyranny. So just so you know, that's it. I'm going to take off now. I'm whatever you need.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to take you up on that. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Derek, I tell you.
Yeah. Help us, Holy Ghost. Yes. So please know if you would like to host a house party for me, please do. I will take you up on that offer. And basically, what we do with the house party is we host a fundraiser or a meet and greet so that people in your community, in your neighborhood, can get to know me. So sometimes, you know, when people see that their neighbor is supporting a candidate, they'll trust you enough to also support that candidate. So if you're able to just kind of, you know, right now, when I say that we're literally like, this is a school board race across the three like never before. Okay. This is not our typical, oh, somebody's going to get in. It's just going to be what it is. No, this is actually saving public education, saving democracy, like all hands on deck, freedom versus dictatorship. Okay. A person who's going to listen to you, care about what you value versus somebody who's like, it's just my way or the highway. So please do your part to educate yourself about candidates before you vote for them. Ask questions, join our space. And one thing that's really important for me is that you know, there's two things I'm going to say. I'm trying to be nice. The first one is this platform, I don't want it to be, you know, obviously, you know, we've created this so you can get to know me, but this is not only about me. Like, I want you to be able to come on here, express some of the concerns that you have, talk about the challenges, the triumphs. Like, this is an open space for us to be in community, to talk about education topics. And another thing, I say this with all sincerity and politeness. Um, we're going to come up with whatever ideas we want about the show. Okay. And it may be uncomfortable topics. It may be pleasant topics. It may be something that's going to cause you to be angry. But what's important to me is that we're informed. Like, there may be a topic that you're like, what does it have to do with K through 12? Like, listen, when I say education talks, we're talking globally education, and sometimes things will be K through 12, sometimes it won't be necessarily what you think is K through 12, but at the end of the day, there's connection. So let's be open, and it's my show. So we can do what we want. So basically. So just know that, like, I'm the kind of person who really, it's important that you get to know who I am as a person. I had a young lady meet with me today, and she was like, Kamilah, I'm so glad that I got to sit with you to hear your story. And it's important that you hear my story and how I grew up and what has defined me, because that's a lot. It has a lot to do with how I make decisions. It has a lot to do with how I, you know, like how I've grown up and who raised me has a lot to do with how I treat you, how I interact with you. Now, I'm just going to be real, okay? If you're mean, I'm mean. I am mean to mean people, just period, okay? So those people who have that kind of, oh, she's mean, you were probably mean. So, you know, but to the sweetest little plum butterfly of the earth, I meet you with your vibe. And that's why I think it's so important for people to meet with me, because there's people out there who twist the narrative about me. They're like, all she does is go to the school board meetings and yell. And I'm thinking, okay, so it's really important that people get to know me, because then you understand where my passion comes from. My friend Jennifer Lee died because of the stress that she was experiencing as a member in a school, as an employee. So I'm very passionate about this work. I'm very passionate about what we do, because it's important. I don't want to see any person, any student, any family go through heartache and trauma and trials and tribulation when we're supposed to be in a place of education where we're learning and flourishing together, right? This is not a war zone. We should be working together. So I'll digress there. Does anybody else want to say something? Regent Perkins, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, thank you for having me. I know I don't show, I know I show up intermittently, but I do show up when I can show up. So, you said that at this point, if you're a good campaigner, then everybody should know your name. Yes, yes, absolutely. But how do you reach the people that you like, the people that don't go to meetings, the people that
Yeah.
don't come to the Zooms? How do they even know about the Zooms? I mean, I think that's like the $1 million question. And I rem you you operate very much the way that I did my Regent campaign. I went to everything. Anytime anybody invited me to anything, I was there. I went to every corn dog making, cotton candy chewing, you know, pie contest, chili making. I went to everything. And over time, people got to know me, because people say I'm mean also, but no.
That's us.
Just because I
That's
say
funny.
what nobody else has said to you,
Right.
doesn't make me mean.
Right.
So that's I guess that's the $1 million question. What are some creative ways we can reach those people? Like, hell, I mean, heck, I even went to dog parks,
Mm-hmm.
and handed out materials.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't ride the bus, which was a really good idea. I didn't, like, people said, oh, just ride the bus, like, and you'll find, you'll meet people that are outside of your normal, um,
Yeah.
I use the word normal loosely, outside of your comfort zone or where you're used to
Yeah.
traveling. And I'm like, okay, but I know Emerge did a lot of that, like unusual places to meet folks. But what if you don't have a dog? What if you don't ride the bus? What if you just
Yeah.
go to work and come home? I no longer can get into the EDRs at the casinos, so and that was one place where I tried to reach people too, because everybody goes to, well, almost everybody goes to work. So, or quite a few, people go to work. So how do you overcome that when people, because people don't even know, I mean, a lot of people voted for me, but I got a text message back. Well, I've never heard of you before. Why do you only contact me during election time? I'm like, wait a minute. Uh, I've been here. Where have you been? Where can I meet you at? So I'm sorry I ranted on, but that's
Oh,
that's
you're
like
good.
the
Please
that's the
rant.
question.
I'm gonna do one of the sessions I've been wanting to do. Like, let's just have a rant day. I want to hear what your rant. There's a radio show that's like the rant, and I'm like, okay, I love it. So we're gonna do education rant one day. But yes, I think that's an absolutely valid question because I definitely have not mastered that. Mr. Rodney is always telling me, Kamilah, did you tell people you have a show? And I'm like, you know what? I forgot. I forgot to tell people that we have a Facebook show Tuesday. So just from what I'm learning from my experience, I gotta go knock on people. I gotta go knock on people's doors and let them know, like, hey, there's this opportunity for you to get to know me. Now, if you don't have,
But they don't open the door for you.
no, they don't.
So
Um,
I was like,
no, they don't.
okay.
No, they don't. But I gotta put information there. Now, like I said, I don't have all the answers, but just inviting as many people as I can. I mean, obviously, we're a very small tribe, so there's 213,000 voters in my district. So us few people are not going to be able to really like hit everybody, but the best that I can do is word of mouth. Like Belinda Denise is on. Big shout out to Belinda Denise. She's on the live now. She was eating crab earlier, and I was like, dang, I need to get dropped off where she at. But the word of mouth, inviting people, and one thing that I actually am gonna do, I was looking on like the Facebook events, so I can ask people if I can come to their Summerlin events at the library. There were some people who were doing like home cooking. I'm like, well, I wonder if I could ask them if I could come. So that's what I got. That's what I got. I do know that I need help. That's what I do know. So if you know of any events that are in Summerlin, I know, the Eventbrites and Facebook events, there's a lot of little events happening. So my plan is I've already started kind of tackling like what's going on so I can ask the individuals if I can join them to introduce myself.
That
You
that
know,
was kind of my specialty, is to keep my calendar full. So
Yeah.
that was my
Laura,
superpower.
Laura, one of the things that campaigning is more difficult today and it's more costly than ever before. And the least expensive thing that anyone can get in a campaign is when you have person to person contact and when you have one person tell another person. And I often remind everyone when they had the march on Washington, D.C. in '63, a lot of people didn't even have telephones, but yet hundreds of thousands of people went to that march, went to that rally. And some people say, well, Rodney, that's not practical. And I disagree. I tell people about Kamilah wherever I am. Now, one of the things that Kamilah can do, if she hasn't done it already, is put the show information, contact information, and date on her collateral.
Mm-hmm.
And when she's passing it out, whatever event she's going to, they will have it. So it's not just mentioning it, but also giving them something they can take with them. Um, uh, Having a sign up sheet for the people who have been on the show so that she can contact them because there's been a lot of people that's been on the show And also when she does go to events, just like they have a sign-up sheet for the event, Kamilah can have a sign-up sheet for her campaign, because there may be people who would volunteer and they're just waiting to be asked, and then they need that, that thing to go around where you can touch. In marketing, they say you have to touch people 7 different ways. So campaigning and marketing have a lot in common. So we do have to be, that you can call, but they don't want you to call. You can put on door hangers, but they don't want the door hangers, right? They don't want you knocking on their doors. They don't want you text messaging. So all of the ways that we normally reach people, which are usually the less expensive ways, a lot of people don't want. So what that leaves is the expensive ways, starting out with radio, paper marketing, newspaper, magazines, and of course, television being the most expensive. Well, I don't know if Sister Kamilah's up for the television stuff yet. Maybe we'll speak that into existence. But until that happens, we have to tell a story. We have to tell her story. We have to be her foot soldiers. We have to be the vanguards of her campaign to get the word out. So when I do my gatherings on Friday, I'm talking about Kamilah in general. If I don't talk about Kamilah for whatever reason, please remind me to talk about Kamilah. And wherever I go, we need to talk about those people that we need to get in office.
Absolutely. Did anyone else want to say anything? So I wanted to make sure that people have an opportunity to talk about any events that are coming on. I know, Mr. Rodney, you want to talk about goodness gracious, it just brought it back.
So actually the general is going to come on and she's going to introduce herself.
Okay.
Yes, and she's going to talk about some upcoming things.
Okay, is she ready now or no?
Well, a picture is showing a smile, and I'm enjoying the pretty face of her picture. Hopefully she'll come on live and we'll see the live pretty face. But while we're waiting for her to come on, Kamilah, you have been invited to a book signing and a meet and greet on July. Hopefully I have the dates right. That's why the general is going to do it. So I'm doing it off of memory. On July 20th, I believe, from 6 to 9 p.m., Barbara Lee, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, is going to have a book signing. She's going to give a speech. And Judge Angel is going to do interviews of candidates for her show that evening. So that will get you on television that we were just talking about earlier. And so Jamila Fowler called me and asked me if I would reach out to you and give you a personal invite on her behalf to come to her house. And the general will give the address to you in the chat or IM it to you. But you have been invited to spend time with Congresswoman Barbara Lee at Ms. Jamila Fowler's house, and also they're to be interviewed by Judge Angel.
Ooh, yay! Woohoo!
Awesome. That is an excellent thing. Hello, everyone. This is the General. And as you see, Rodney is extremely excited about that. He couldn't wait for me, but that's okay. I do understand. We're excited about it. We're excited that you were invited. Obviously, they said interview candidates, but our person is Kamilah Bywaters, and that's the person we're most concerned about, is you're being there front and center to meet her, to discuss the issues that you may want, the topics that you want to tap on a bit, obviously to also be interviewed by the judge. She has a radio show. She's a fantastic person. She believes in nothing. Okay, you can say she believes in nothing but what's good and right because she's a judge. But when she meets people, she's very open and she's very honest. And when she feels that you are on point as a good person and in your area, she's got you. And she is the perfect person to interview you, I feel, and to bring you on her radio show so everyone else can take in what we get from you. So that is excellent. So we're really looking forward to that. And I won't say I hope you can make it. We know you're going to be there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to be there for sure. I love this. Exciting.
Yes, very much so. It's a great opportunity, I believe. Just
So
the
what I like
conversation period is great. I'm sorry, go right ahead, Mr. Smith.
is that somebody reached out to me that's heard about you to get you. So that
Yes.
means that the word of you is getting around. And let me tell you, Miss Jamila Fowler, she's no lightweight. She's no lightweight. When she puts on these events, you never know who's going to be there. Um, if you were here during the time when President Obama ran, she was the one who put on some of those big events and fundraisers. Uh, she is just really a jewel for supporting good candidates like yourself. And when she called me today, well, she messaged me first and said, I need to talk to you. And so I called her and she told me that she wanted you and that she wanted me to invite you on her behalf. So I wanted to make sure that people heard it live right here tonight, that you are
That's
invited to
exciting.
her house.
Woohoo! I'm so grateful. Yes. Yeah, listen,
Very
I
exciting.
need to get my picture with Congresswoman Barbara Lee for sure.
Indeed.
And Judge Angel's show is actually a television show. So you're going to be, you're going to get some free advertisement. And that free advertisement, let me tell you, it's worth more than the free that it is, because that means that it's going to be spread out in places that otherwise may not see you, may not hear about you. And just need to keep beating the drum, telling people about your, and tell your friends, you know, come to my webpage, come to my Facebook page, whatever it is, so they can, you know, if you have a TikTok channel, which I don't advise anybody in downloading the TikTok app, but if you already have it, then if you're on TikTok, you want to tell them every means to get a hold of you and to see you.
Sounds good. So when will the interview, is Judge Angel doing the interviews at the event?
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff going on all in one evening. Great stuff, positive. So it's a good thing.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me shout out really quick the people who are on Facebook Live. So Belinda Denise, thank you for joining in and being active on Facebook Live. Sarah, big shout out. Sarah, I was hoping you was going to join into the Zoom because I saw something that you posted on your page and it was like the right wing terminology. I wanted you to talk about that. And then Sarah has some things that she said about, let's see, somebody, another person by, okay, hold on. Ben Affleck and J-Lo met somebody. Okay, I don't know, Sarah. That by knocking doors.
Mm.
He is on Netflix show Buying Beverly Hills, and you can fact check him because according to TMZ, he is the one that listed their house to sell due to their impending divorce. So I don't get the first part. But Sarah Weston, thank you for being on. Pastor West, thank you for being on. Nikki Fearless, thank you for being on. And at this time, what I wanted to do is, before we go into the announcements, did Tracy, Walter, or anyone else want to say anything? Drexel or Miss Cozy?
Hello, everyone. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Walter.
Make sure you guys drink plenty of water.
And why is that, Walter? Why should we drink so much water today?
This heat. Make sure we stay hydrated.
So, Walter, let them know you're running for office. So tell the folks what office that you're running for and what you stand briefly, what you stand for, and how folks can get a hold of you.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Walter Jones III, better known as Boo. I'm running for State Assembly, District 6. So one of my biggest things is more of the education, our seniors, and job training. As we know, the governor vetoed a lot of bills. So once I'm in there to find out what bills that he vetoed to see if we can get those bills reissued and get them passed. Because if you notice over here in my district, and the black and brown kids, we're the one that's hurting. educational wise, job wise, we're hurting. We know the teachers need a raise. They need more money in order for us to get better education. So those are some of my things that I'm pushing for. But you can contact me at voteforwalterjones.com. That's voteforwalterjones.com. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Walter. And I'm hoping Walter will come back on, because some people might say, well, what does education have to do with a person in the assembly? And then how would it benefit us if Kamilah and Walter were in the assembly at the same time? So, Walter, if you could come back and maybe take 1 minute to share what's the significance of your position as an assembly person and a local issue like education.
Sure. No problem. Thank you, Rodney.
Okay, Walter, did you want to comment on?
Oh yes. Oh, that's a great question. So, what is actually the money trickles down from the state, and as being a state assemblyman, to try to get it passed through the Senate, to get the governor to pass a bill to pay more money for education and pay more money for teachers. So, as a state assemblyman, my job would be to, as we know, just like with Dr. Bywater, majority wins. So I got 41 other constituents. So I got to convince at least 20 of them that we need to spend more money in Clark County down here in Southern Nevada.
All right. Thanks, Walter. It's always about the money, isn't it? Okay. Was there anybody else that wanted to, Trace, anybody else that wanted to come on real quick? All right. So, Kamilah, it looks like everybody that wanted to introduce themselves have introduced themselves. So,
okay, so let's get to the gossip. I know we all got the gossip, okay? I'm hoping we do. Now, answer this question for me. Has Project 2025 gone viral before Taraji P. Henson, or did it just go viral because of Taraji P. Henson at the BET? Was she at the BET Awards?
Yes.
So
Yes.
were we talking about this in the way prior?
No. I think what I saw, I don't know about anyone else, it was almost dead prior to the primary. During Trumpet's trial, that was basically the only thing everyone was talking about. The news may have done a blip here and there, but basically it was all about his trial as we approach the primary, which I believe was a huge mistake. Even though we weren't voting for him, we needed to pay attention to who we were voting for, who was supporting him, and that mess. So that's what was on the lips of the news, the trial. After the primary, after the trial, there was a little bit more of a buzz, but still, in all honesty, not enough for America to really notice and pay any attention and ask, what are they talking about? It just wasn't there. Once that debate hit, that's kind of when it hit the fan. Everything kind of hit the fan with the presidential candidates. And then Taraji to boot with Black America, of course. The combination of those two, I think that's when it really hit hard, and has been hitting hard ever since. I do hope people are paying attention. I don't think still some people are, because I read on the internet where a topic will come up out of that mess, and people still don't get it, and they want to dispute what it says, right, and what their idea of what it says. It's black and white. It's black and white. You can't break it down and try to make it something that it is not.
Right. So listen, I've known about Project 2025, and I'm so glad that Taraji P. Henson said what she said. And, it takes a celebrity for us to start drinking. And this is why I really believe that our celebrities, they're very important to our society because people pay attention to them and and listen, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Listen, I who can get me in contact with Chris Brown? Somebody, Kendrick Lamar. Hey, somebody get me in contact with them. But I do have like a little plan. I'm trying to get these people involved because my point is this. And I'm not saying that I do believe that they do their work in their spaces, their charity work, but we really need them to get involved, like seriously, with saving democracy and really getting involved with, what's happening in our political environment because their voices are so influential. Like after Taraji P. Henson said what she said, I don't know if she got in trouble with it. I don't know if she was supposed to say what she said, but it was trending. And I think it's so important that we understand the detriment of Project 2025. Now, here's my little tea gossip. So Tracy and I, we were blessed to be able to meet the executive director of the White House Initiative on Advancing Black Americans. And that's with the U.S. Department of Education. We were told, like after Trump and the new administration came in, they were like, listen, y'all, the Department of Education was in shambles. Like nothing was happening. So could you imagine Project 2025 wants to absolutely eliminate the Department of Education, eliminate. And you could imagine the ramifications that the ideology and the thought that, we don't need to have a department that kind of, is I don't even know what the word is, a department to, lead us. What's that? Is Sarah coming on? Because I know she said she had something to say. But
she's tech challenged. I'm trying to send her the invite.
Okay. So the Department of Education would be dismantled. There would be nothing. That means that, y'all, federal special education funds, we're going to be looking at where's that at? Okay. And you all know, I'm a special education teacher. So we got to make sure that we're protecting our students with disabilities and making sure that they have what is it? Making sure they have what they need to thrive in school. So we really have to make sure, do they have this as a book or is it an online booklet?
It's an online booklet and it may be a book too, but it's definitely online and there's even breakdowns to it. So there's multiple ways to gain access.
Okay. So I'm actually reading from Education Week right now, and they have like a breakdown of how it would affect K through 12 education. So it says that federal special education funds would flow to school districts as block grants with no strings attached or even to savings account for parents to use on private school or other education expenses. Another thing it says is that the federal
let's hold up on that.
Okay.
Because there's so much in there that I just want people to understand how that would impact us. Walter talked about being on the assembly and the dollars. Well, if those dollars were to move out of the realm of where they normally sent and go directly to people's pocketbooks or to people who believe, there's some people who believe, no, we shouldn't have any public schools. Well, if that particular person in charge of that district gets that money, then are they going to send it all to private schools? Are they going to send it all to charters? Look how that would impact regular public education. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to jump in because I just think it's so important. One of the things that they mentioned was they want to eliminate Head Start. They want to eliminate that. And these things that they're wanting to do, these are big things that studies have proven their success. Remember earlier in my introduction, I talked about why it's important that we get someone like Ms. Bywaters on the Board of Education is because once she gets in there, she can help bring it, and with the help of people like Walter in the assembly and setting the curriculum and bringing in things to educate our children on how to be good citizens, understand, remember old civics, how government works and their role in government. If those things had been in place over the last 20 years, maybe some of the extremes that have happened wouldn't have happened because our children would have been armed with knowledge, not left or right knowledge, but knowledge. And that's what's lacking right now. So sorry, Kamilah, we can get back
No,
on our list. I just want to
no,
make sure we
no.
understand the impact of some of these
Yeah.
things.
Let's not be sorry, because if we need to put a pin in it to discuss it, it's important because we need to be informed. And what sticks out to me about this is that the school districts would receive a lump sum of money without strict federal guidelines. And here's the kicker. They already have strict federal guidelines and getting sued up the yin yang. So imagine what would happen if there's no strict federal, they're gonna be making up whatever they want to do. And
Yep.
they're just gonna be making up whatever they want to do. And just thinking about the shenanigans that we have going on in our state, in our school district, in our school system, there's no guardrails, and we'll be really in a bigger fight than ever before. So
And,
yeah.
and on that big fight, it is hard to hold on to certain things. Democracy, believe it or not, is something that's hard to hold on to because you have to have an educated electorate in order to properly actuate the levers of power in a democracy. But you know what's harder than that? That's getting one back. And so holding on to it is one level, but getting one back, that's a whole nother level, to use a local vernacular. So we don't want to lose something that's hard fought for. And let me tell you, the democracy that we have today, we didn't have this democracy when I was born, because when I was born, the Voting Rights Act had not been passed yet. So we were still very much in Jim Crow. And my family is from the rural South. So they knew what it was like for those poll taxes. We already see how people, it is about the power of the vote. And it's the power of our vote. That's what it is. And for those people who don't think your vote counts, first of all, they wouldn't be attacking our vote if they weren't afraid of our decision making. One of the things that ushered in Jim Crow was that originally, when slaves were freed, white people weren't worrying about black people vote, because remember, reading and writing was against the law. So they thought they were ignorant. They thought they had no understanding and that they wouldn't gain it so quick. But what happened that very first cycle? Black people literally changed the complexion of those that were in elected office at the time. And until Jim Crow hit, they continued to change the course of this country from one that was going backwards to one more forward leaning. And a lot of the things that we enjoy today came because of those efforts that started back then. And we need to today live in that legacy and do our part and continue to vote, because it will be the black vote, heavily leaning towards the black female vote, but it is the black vote collectively, because one without the other is depowered. It's going to be the black vote that determines the outcome of the presidential election, and it will determine the outcome of most other down ballot races too. So we need to be educated on things like Project 2025, but it's not just Project 2025, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. But let's not forget Agenda 47. That's something that's also as dangerous. Let's not forget Schedule F. These are all documents, and they're right in front of our faces. They're not hiding it anymore. Again, why literacy is important, to be able to read, and then not just to read, but to comprehend. All right, Sister Kamilah?
No, absolutely.
If I can chime in and say one thing real quick. I say this all the time, and I think a lot of us in our community haven't caught on to it. We don't hold no one accountable. Money that was allocated for the school system always goes somewhere else. It doesn't go back to pre-K. It doesn't go to it doesn't go to the teachers. It always gets funneled somewhere else. And we've been saying this for a while, even when me and Kamilah go to the board meetings. The sad part about it, we're up here fighting for someone else's kids that won't even show up to a meeting. Then they wonder why we don't get the funds where it should be coming to. Every fund should be allocated and accounted for where it's going. One time we asked for an internal audit and it never happened. I was on the bond oversight committee and I seen money that just sat and went to general service. So we have to make sure, like you said, Rodney, we have to make sure that we get out and vote. But we also got to make sure, quit putting these same ones in position that's going along to get along. And at the same time, our community is hurting. Our kids are hurting. So we have to make sure we can sit up here and talk about the same thing all day, but we got to make sure that show them how important it is, because there's too many things that they want to cut out, but it's cutting out our end, it's cutting out our kids. It's cutting out our community.
Right.
Okay, Sarah she's in the process of logging
Okay,
on.
cool. So
And
really quick, I'm gonna do a shout out. I want a big shout out to Robert Twix Taylor. He's not able to talk right now, but he said that Donald Trump canceled the NYSP summer camp programs nationwide that have been going on for over 30 years that him and all of his siblings attended, as well as his kids. I know NYSP because my dad used to do NYSP at UNLV and I would go with him. And I think there was a really good opportunity for students to have something to do in the summer. So like, okay, that part, Trumpy Trump, like, why be canceling good stuff for kids? But really quick for those, Sarah, I'm gonna read this really quick and then you can tell us what you wanted to say. But it looks like my computer is frozen on this end. So I'm gonna come back to this in a second.
Kamilah, one of the things that I felt to bring up that Rodney and I discussed earlier, there's a movie / documentary. It's called Bad Faith. It's a good idea to watch it if you're concerned about Project 25. This is a fantastic watch for those of you who are concerned about that, where we're going, what's going on. Obviously, anybody who's running for office. It's called Bad Faith. We'll put it in the chat for anyone who wants to know about it. That's a good idea to watch. I was hoping we would be able to have a group watch, but I think everybody jumped on it so quickly to watch, which is a good thing that we didn't get the opportunity to do so. However, we will have a discussion about this movie Friday at the gathering. So if you have the opportunity to watch it, please feel free to do so. It is very good, very informative, and gives you something to think about.
Okay, so thank you. I'm gonna really quick read what's being said here. We're kind of behind the conversation a little bit. But Tracy was saying that she's having technical issues. Pastor West was saying, I pray she doesn't get blackballed for speaking out like that. Is that me? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Mr. Mumford is on, Stephen Mumford. Republicans want to make everything go back to states and downsize the federal government. Pastor West said, I have it as a PDF, the Project 2025 as a PDF, and he'll send it now. And Belinda Denise was saying it's 900 pages long, y'all. So
yes,
in there, we might have to break it up in sections. And
that's real talk about breaking it up into sections.
Uh-huh.
We can 18 people take 50 pages. We can do it.
And then Stephen Mumford talks about the cannabis industry, taxes supported, was supposed to go to education. So legislature are saying that is happening, and the community is saying it's not happening. So we have to maybe dig a little bit deeper, like give us the reports and show us where money was put into education.
Show us the money.
Yeah, show where, and then that something else wasn't taken out of the bank account to go somewhere else. I mean, I don't know. So there's that controversy with that. There's something else. So it's 6:54. You didn't get a chance to talk about the summit.
Kamilah, can I just say one thing? This is
Go ahead, Sarah.
I'm sorry. So I was talking about the realtor. The guy who sold J-Lo and Ben Affleck's house was the realtor. He door knocked on the door and Ben Affleck answered the door. So door knocking works. He made a bunch of money off that anyway. But I did want to give an update on what the state Republicans are doing real quick. So the Proud Boy Political Action Committee here in the state is called No Rhino Nevada. They've gone federal now. So they've got a federal political action committee. So they will be dumping money into the federal campaigns, I would assume, for, their people. And then the other thing is that there's a meeting going on tonight down in Henderson at I think it's the First Baptist Church, where you're going to have some real losers like Signa Chatta and Jim Marchant and Stephanie Powers and a whole bunch of other people that are basically, you know, they are getting very organized. And I will say that I must be ruffling a little feather over there, because I got the Proud Boy, the former Las Vegas Proud Boy girl, to chime up on me yesterday on social media. Excuse me, I have my dogs in here. And, you know, that doesn't always go well when you bring up my child. So, but, you know, I like to know that they're still thinking about me 4 years later. So apparently, you know, people only do that when they're threatened. So, you know, at this point, just so everybody does know, and then in regards to what was I going to say? In regards to people wanting audits, you know, audits can happen, but it's our responsibility to email the controller's office. You know, and my very good friend is the deputy controller for the state, so he's willing to audit anything we need. He's still looking into that what's it called, the scholarship for poor people that Republicans want to go to rich people. I can't remember, that Anna was talking about. He's still looking into that 18 million that was supposedly siphoned out of Nevada. So, you know, we can get audits. He has the power to audit anybody in the state if they get state or federal money.
So, Sarah, Kamilah had asked you earlier, I'm not sure if you could hear her, you had sent something out about Republicans speak, and basically it was when they say certain words, what it actually means to their base that we may not understand.
Yeah, so let me
Okay, and we're running out of time.
Yeah, so let me pull. So basically, just off the top of my head, DEI means the N word. Woke means diversity and inclusion. Something about it's on my Facebook page, and I don't have it. I'm on my phone. I don't have it pulled up right now, but basically,
let me see if
do you have it?
Let me see if I saved it really quick. Let me see if I can pull up the picture. Hold on, let me see. I have it. Okay. So,
yeah.
So DEI, like you said, is the N word. CRT is Black history. Woke is diversity and inclusion. Pro-life is forced birth. School choice is defunded public schools. Right to work is the end of union wages. And liberty is guns and ammo. Is this real?
Yeah, well, it was put up by a congresswoman. I just got it off of Twitter, so that was her post. And I mean, it's pretty much, yeah, I spent some time over there, and that's pretty much it. I mean, let's not forget that I think today or yesterday on Fox News, they had said that Vice President Harris is the DEI vice president. So that would fit the narrative if you talk Republican.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, somebody slipped over there and called her a DEI vice president.
Well, that makes so that fits what it's
and then when you actually yeah, when you actually ask Trumplicans or Republicans or conservatives what woke means, because you'll be like, I don't even know what that means. They can't even tell you what it means, because they're like, well, you just know it when you see it. I don't even know what it means, but I attribute it to like mostly white people waking up to the fact that this is a country based on systemic racism. That's what I attribute it to mean, as a white person who was asleep to systemic racism, and then through various channels in my life was forced to basically wake up to the fact that, you know what I mean? Because we're, like we've discussed before, that's not how we're taught in school. And most white people just live in their little bubble, and you know what I mean? And then if they don't go to college, they really don't get taught real history. So
wow. So that was good input. So when we hear them say these things, when we read those things, let's go with our interpretation index that Sarah just gave us, so we know how they really feel about us. And then let's respond back appropriately. That doesn't mean being mean and shout them down, but we know who they are and know what they are saying. Especially when they're giving speeches, they are sending signals out to their base. It may not make sense to us, but now we have the cheat sheet, and we can call them out and we can know them for who
Well,
they are.
and religious freedom basically also, I do know this, religious freedom is not on that list, but religious freedom means that we're going to basically enforce our freedom, our religion on you. So it's not good for us to have religious freedom. And let's not also forget that one of the scariest things about Project 2025 is the thing we're doing right now, you know, talking about our leaders and how maybe we don't like them. They want to outlaw all of that and lock all of us up for doing that, a fundamental right. And let's also look back on how that goes to Kaepernick kneeling and how the outrage of that. So if you start to piece this all together since 2016 and you just follow the blueprint, I mean, my 6-year-old could probably figure it out. You know what I mean? So, you know, and that's, and I don't know, Rodney, you got more patience than me. I got a lot of them on my Facebook page and I just call them a moron. So, you know, that's just, but then again, that's just me.
Right. Yeah. I have, I've been working on not, you know, focusing on my campaign and not talking crazy to people who deserve to be talked crazy to. And I'm gonna wait. I have a date. So then I'm gonna be on the news later, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for a certain date and then do it and say what I'm gonna say and then move on. But listen, here's what I want to say. Stay focused on what you have going on. But please know that all of this, what we're sharing is important because individuals with these ideologies, they want to start with school boards. They want to start getting in with school boards and then work their way up the chain and the ladder. And they're very strategic. They're working together. So it's important that we understand what's happening. We know what's happening, that we don't fear it, but we get the information and get before it. You wanted to talk something. I know that I have 2 more things I wanted to say before we go off, but did you want to talk about the Black Leadership Summit or do you want to wait for another day?
So I'm going to throw this out really quick. President Biden is going to be in town next week for the National NAACP conference. When we initially planned on doing the Black Leadership Summit, it was right before COVID hit, and we had timed it to go in line with the election. At that time, President Biden's campaign said they wanted the president to be involved. We don't have a lot of time, but we're thinking about seeing if we can put together a Black Leadership Summit for next week and to see if Biden or his campaign would be interested in receiving the results of the Black Leadership Summit. And the purpose of the Black Leadership Summit is to come up with the Black agenda for Clark County, which really means for Nevada. And if President Biden he needs that Black vote and he needs to reach us. And this would be a potential opportunity for him to bring about awareness of Black issues and maybe even push the idea of a Black Leadership Summit across the nation, that he would be interested in getting feedback directly from Black people as to what we want in new laws and things that we need for governance and to improve our conditions.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. Ooh, I love that. Awesome. You know, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. This is so bad. I know I'm bad. I watched the debate like 3, 4 times, and this is so sad. I'm so glad I'm not at one of the parties watching this because I fell out so many times. I'm just so sorry. And then the Black jobs, I missed all of that. I'm like, why is everybody texting and Black jobs? I'm like, I don't understand. And my mom was like, Kamilah, because remember, Trump said all the Black jobs are getting, taken by immigrants. I'm thinking that is like, really? But if anything, community, Hispanic community and Black community, that right there is our call to make sure that we are together and we are stronger than ever. And we don't allow anyone or anything to get in between us as a people and as humans, right? Like, and I just love how people have come together on, both communities have come together to kind of, create another narrative around that. But listen, we need to come together and not allow people to divide and have like Blacks against Hispanics and Hispanics against Blacks. Like, no, let's debunk all of that. No, we're not even playing those type of games. Let's come together and do what's right for our community. So really quick, I just wanted to go over the what was being said on Facebook. So Pastor West said, "Nah, it wasn't me. It was Taraji P. Hopefully that girl don't get blackballed." When that came out her mouth, I was like, "Whoa, get it, girl." That's a sacrifice. So bless her heart. I really do hope the same too.
Absolutely loved it. And I do believe more celebrities and
Yeah,
athletes who have a great fan base need to speak out on this
exactly,
situation
exactly.
because people will pay more attention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and let's not forget the general that the conservatives hate when black athletes use their platform. You know what I mean? So I would like to see that too. You know what you know, because that rubs them the wrong way, because like they're scared or something.
They
Right.
are.
Okay. So
Because that's huge. That's huge. The following is huge with athletes. And if they're all on the same page and they're all speaking the same thing and they're speaking to the public on what's right, then yes, they don't like it. They won't like it. But again, that's why I believe that athletes and entertainers need to come forth and speak up.
awesome. Thank you. Let's see here. So big shout out to Mercedes. Mercedes, my sister, is on the Facebook. So Mr. Mumford was saying that we need to expand trade schools in our high schools, especially in Mojave, Cheyenne, Legacy, and Canyon high schools, so more Black students can get into trades and work for Walter Jones. Um, and then Belinda was saying that there's one off of Pecos and Bonanza and it's thriving. Let's see. I know the schools don't have shop classes. The schools don't have shop classes, and at almost 3,000 schools and each student, there isn't enough capacity for the demand. Uh, People are agreeing. Pastor West is saying that freedom of speech and expression is on the chopping block.
It is on the ballot.
Yeah, yeah. Stephen Mumford, the white Christian nationalist, is the type of religion that Republicans are pushing to make the United States religion. The white Christian nationalism religion has its roots in the KKK South.
So that movie that the general talked about, Bad Faith, that talks about how this Christian nationalism came about, how the abortion issue, again, using Sarah's code, is abortion was code for segregation. And remember, Christian pastors, evangelicals, were pro-abortion up until the Voting Rights and the Civil Rights Act came out. Because in the Bible, their Bible, it says that life begins when, at first breath, God breathed life into the dust that he formed into man. And then he breathed life in him. That was when life started for Christians up until circa 1973. And so, because they were losing popularity on the segregation tip, that's when, I forget the gentleman's name, I think it's Wyrick, I think it's Paul Wyrick, decided that he could co-opt the Republican Party and give them an issue by consolidating with Christian evangelicals. That there is a direct line from those two things that bring us to where we are today.
Exactly. And I think in one of the school, I believe it's in Houston, where they're trying to put the 10 Commandments in the school. Y'all know they're gonna pick the King James version, thou shalt not. We don't even talk like that.
No, that's Louisiana that just
Louisiana.
passed that. Yes, Louisiana. And I just want to say this on the live. You know, I had it out with my mom last night because that's my mama, and you know, I can only make so much excuses for my mama. And the truth of the matter is that she talks about how much she loves her grandkids and loves, like, my son especially is her favorite. And I finally told her, don't tell me that how much you love your grandson, because your grandson is Black. Okay. In America, your grandson is Black. And you basically are going to vote for an agenda that is going to make it a hardship for my child that already faces so many things to be a Black man in America. Now, you know, Trump is trying to also reinstitute stop and frisk. And that was actually said at a rally by him last year. So, you know, it's kind of like all these things It's like all those SCOTUS judges that voted to overturn Roe. We can all go back into all the archives from Thomas to Alito and all the way back. They sat in that Senate confirmation hearing and they said, we will not overturn Roe. It's case law, established case law, and all this stuff. So, let's just all remember, and that's where you have to hit people. I've been hitting people with, they want to make it illegal for a woman to have a DNC. A DNC, and most people don't even know, most men don't even know what a DNC is.
I was told it stood for dust and clean.
No, it stands for what a woman needs to clean out her inside parts after she has a miscarriage, because a miscarriage by medical terms means spontaneous abortion. So when they talk about an abortion ban, they're talking about a woman getting her insides cleaned out of all that stuff that's still in there that doesn't bleed out when you have a miscarriage. And anybody can have a miscarriage. In fact, 3 out of 5 women have experienced a miscarriage in this country at one point in their life. So we're talking about 3 out of 5 women. And that's where, I'm sorry. I know people want white women to save America, but they're just lost. We can't rely on white women to save this country because they're just, you know what I mean? And they want to end same-sex marriage. That's what we all need to rally behind, whether it's Black people, Mexican people, gay people, any people. If you're not a white male redneck, then what you need to rally behind is the fact that they are trying to make you subhuman.
Yeah. Well, I was watching so we need all of us, and we need people in all of these spaces who care about humanity, period, regardless of who you are and how you show up to your space and how you're authentically you. We need all of us here having these conversations. Actually, I had, do rednecks want to be called redneck? Because I don't know. Well, you know what? The guy referred to himself as a redneck, so I'm just gonna go from there. And he said he was like, y'all need to pay attention because they trying to separate us. And I was like, oh, let me pay attention to what he's talking about. He was like, listen, I'm not about all that. And he said, the propaganda is so tough right now that even this person who called him, I'm gonna say it like this person who called himself a redneck said, I'm not down with all this separation. Basically, we need to work together. So the division and the divide is just, it's propaganda. It's really not as divisive as I don't know. I don't even want to say as we think, because I was just in a close race, like nobody's business. So I don't even want to say that. But this is where we build community, we speak our truths, and we do what's good for humanity. We've gotten to 7:15, so I want to go ahead and close out and say thank you to everyone who's joined. I have a really good lineup coming on. We have so I have some guests who are going to come on, and I've sent out an invitation. If you would like to come on the show and talk about a topic that you have in mind, please come on. I have a young lady who's going to come on and talk about early childhood and the importance of educating our children at young age and talk about all that. I have another young lady who's coming on who's going to talk about, she's an ABA, what is that? A behavior analyst. So she works with students with autism. So she's going to come on and talk about that and some of the issues and challenges that she sees happening in education. I also have Dr. Tanya Holmes Sutton, who's running for Board of Regents District 4. She's going to come on. I'm going to have Christina Laster with the National Action Network come on and talk about education. So these individuals, they have a special expertise. They're going to come on and talk. And sure, okay, of course. And then, so if you have something that you're interested in talking about, please come on. All of these topics are important to education. It all relates. And even, this show is about educating our community. Sometimes it may not be specifically focused with what your thoughts are about education, but we're going to be educating people on this show, period. Okay. And the last thing I wanted to say was reach out. I've had people email me like, hey, I want to come on the show. So come on, let's have a conversation. And there was one more point I was going to make before I forgot, but I'm going to go ahead and let Thomas go ahead and say what he wanted to say.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you all for doing your show and having these discussions, because I think that we need to talk about what's happening and what's at hand. The first thing I want to say is that I think I know a young lady that you probably should have on the show. Her name is Khalees Houston, very intelligent sister. She authored a bill here in the state of Minnesota called the African American Family Preservation Act. The bill passed. It is a bill that tackles child protection services and the removal of African American children from the system. I think it's very important when we talk about education to focus on that, because a lot of our scholars are in broken homes who sometimes get uprooted from their families and jettisoned out to white communities. And we kind of ignore those folks, but I've been doing this work for the past 8 years. And what I will tell you is that uh, only 2% of the children that I've seen in these cases have been involved in sexual abuse, and only 9% in physical abuse. So you have 89% of our children being removed from homes from what just is pretty much circumstantial information. And a lot of them are being sold off into these white foster homes while we're not talking about it and having this conversation. We have a lot of conversation about empty nesting and vacations, but our babies actually need our attention, and some of our relatives need that attention. So I would say that on the matters of Trump, I just say it's simple. He's a traitor. I don't even understand why we have so much of a conversation for a traitor. He's a Benedict Arnold. I don't know why the conversation should just stop there. He's a treasonous traitor. What he tried to do on January 6th, he tried to pull a coup d'etat. It failed. That's it. That's all. The only reason why we have to deal with him on our television screens is because it's on our television screens. If he wasn't good for the media and he didn't make them dollars with the poison that he spews, then they wouldn't have him on TV. He's just good TV. That's just what it is. And unfortunately, that good TV is going to cost the country, whether he wins or lose, because there are going to be a bunch of baby Trumps running around for years to come that he's going to impregnate through the minds. So these are the things that I worry about when I hear him, and I feel like without people just calling him Traitor Trump, that'll stop the conversation. He should have been facing the firing squad, to be honest, for what happened on January 6th. That's what traitors typically get. So I think, this idea in our community where we're romanticizing Donald Trump and we're acting as if the stimulus dollars are worth it. People forget the fact that that was during COVID. We lost a lot of relatives and loved ones during that time. Do you feel like the PPP loans are worth losing your grandmother, your auntie, your cousin, or one of your best friends? I just think that we have to get back to just common sense with ourselves and stop being as selfish as this man who is presenting himself to want to be the 47th president of the United States. And also remember, when he said black jobs, when the brother was up to win The Apprentice, he said that America couldn't want to see the N-word win his show. So when he's saying black jobs, he's not talking about black folks being wealthy. He's talking about the jobs at Popeyes and the jobs at McDonald's and those things that some of those immigrants are doing. We don't want those jobs neither. As a matter of fact, we want the jobs the white folks got. Why do we want the jobs where we have to serve them? We want them to serve us. So those are my 2 cents on Trump. I just feel like, we have to really get back to having a common sense conversation about him and telling the truth of who he is. He is a traitor. Thank you.
Well said. Absolutely.
A great way to close this out.
I think so too. I love that for sure.
And Brother Barry, please come back to the show anytime. On Tuesdays, this is Kamilah Bywaters' show. She is running for school board trustee of District E. She will be a history maker, as she's already a history maker, because she is on the ballot for the general election, and she will make history again when she wins that seat as the first Black person to hold that seat, and then doubling down, being the first Black woman to hold that seat.
Yep, let's get it. Let's get it.
Up.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And for those who are like, she didn't say nothing about what she was going to do. Here's one thing I'm going to do for you as a school board trustee. One thing that is very important to me is that we review and evaluate board policies because some of them are very old. I would like to do a review, revision, and update of any policy that is not serving our students, our board, and our community. So that's one of objective I would like to bring forward in my first 100 days, okay? And also, as always, on day one, I will have my calendar open and ready to start having meetings with whoever wants to have a meeting to let me know what their challenges are. Let me know what the perspective is from you. As a person who has been on the other side of the dais, I understand what it means to go and do public comment and feel like your voice is never being heard. So day one, those are two objectives that I've given you that I will be ready to do is one, make sure that you are valued, make sure that your whatever issue and challenge you're having is heard and that there is a plan to get it rectified. Again, I'm Kamilah Bywaters. I'm running for the Board of School Trustees in District E. You will see me out here working hard, getting these votes, and however you can help, I appreciate your support. Thank you to everyone who took the time out of your day to join us on our show today, and we will see you next week. Have a wonderful evening.